Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up and even before your feet hit the floor, you're already tired? You've been showing up, keeping the team moving, hitting deadlines, being the one who has it together. But inside, you feel drained, like you're pouring energy into everything, but nothing is pouring back into you. That's burnout. And if you're a leader, it can be even more complex. Because you're not just managing your own stress, you're holding space for others, supporting your team, taking on more than you let on. Today, we're talking about what burnout looks like in leadership and how to come back to yourself without stepping away from the role you care about. Welcome back to the Courageous Exchange. I'm Deb Carvel, leadership coach, speaker, and your host. Every week, we explore small, mindful shifts that create big leadership impact. Let's get into it. Let's ground ourselves for a minute. I want to invite you to take this time just for us, as if you've stepped outside the noise of your day, and we're sitting together in a quiet moment. Here's where we start. Let's start by just arriving in your breath, in your body. In this conversation, let go of the expectation to fix anything. Just listen. Burnout doesn't always look like collapsing at your desk or sobbing in your car, although it might. Sometimes burnout wears a polished face. You're productive but disconnected. You're present but not fully engaged. And you're smiling, but your fuse is short at home. I've been there, and I know many of you have too. I once led a team through a major organizational shift. From the outside, things looked great. Milestones hit, meetings managed, momentum on paper. But inside, I was tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. I started resenting the work I used to love. I withdrew from things that brought me joy. And still, I kept showing up. Burnout in leadership isn't always about too much work. Sometimes it's about too little meaning, too few boundaries, or too much emotional labor that goes unspoken. Now that we've acknowledged how burnout might be showing up, let's widen the lens. There's what you're feeling, and then there's the environment you're in. Let's talk about both. Soften into this next truth. Burnout isn't just a personal failing, it's often a systemic one, and leaders, we often carry both. The system demands more with less. You hold it responsibility, but not always the authority. And in the middle, you try to stay resilient. But resilience isn't about gritting through everything, it's about refueling. That starts with noticing, interrupting the cycle, and giving yourself permission to feel what's true. And here's the thing, there's neuroscience behind it. When we stay in a cycle of stress without recovery, our brains shift into survival mode. The amygdala, the part of the brain wired to detect threat, becomes overactive. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part that helps us think clearly, problem solve, and regulate emotion, starts to dim. That's why even the small things can start to feel like big ones. Clarity fades, patience thins, decision-making gets harder. And it's not just the brain. In their book, Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle, by Emily and Amelia Nagoski, explain that stress isn't just something you feel, it's a biological cycle. And unless we complete the cycle through rest, connection, movement, or breath, our body stays in a loop of activation. We think we've moved on, but our nervous system hasn't. Here's where we gently shift from awareness to reflection. This is your coaching moment, an invitation to get honest about the invisible weight you might be holding. Let this be your reminder. What am I carrying that no one else sees? What have I said yes to at the expense of myself? And where am I giving more than I am receiving? Take a deep breath with me now. You don't have to solve it all, but you do need to name it. Burnout begins in silence. Healing begins in awareness. Let's bring this back to center. You're not broken, you're not weak, and you don't have to disappear to reclaim your energy. There is another way forward. Let me show you. Let's anchor this truth. You don't have to quit your job or overhaul your life to recover from burnout. Sometimes the first step is one small boundary, one changed conversation, one moment of courage where you say, I can't give my best if I'm always running on empty. You deserve support and rest, not because you're burned out, but because you're human. Let's breathe that in together. Inhale, I'm allowed to rest. And exhale, I return to myself. Before we close, let's turn reflection into action. These 2 nano lessons are here to guide your next steps. A small question to spark courage. What's one thing I need to stop pretending doesn't bother me? And a power pivot to carry into your leadership this week. Before your next decision, ask yourself, am I choosing this from alignment or obligation? Write it down, share it with someone, or hold it as a quiet truth. And if you need to pause right now, I've got a short burnout recovery meditation waiting in your feed. Burnout doesn't just happen overnight, and healing won't either, but awareness is where the shift begins. You're already doing the work just by showing up here. You don't have to fix it all today, but you can start by choosing yourself, even just a little more than you did yesterday. Next week on The Courageous Exchange, we're talking about boundaries, how to set them, hold them, and lead with them, because sometimes the most courageous thing you can say is no. But for now, take care of you. Take one deep breath and one small step. You are not alone. If this episode gave you something to reflect on, share it. Tag someone who's been carrying more than they show. Let's normalize real conversations about burnout. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to The Courageous Exchange and leave a review. Your voice helps this reach the people who need it the most. Until next time, lead with breath, lead with presence, and lead with heart.